Greetings, everyone. My name is Rich Minnigh. I'm with Intelligent Technology Solutions. I am the Vice President there. Today, we'll be talking about Maximo Managed Services, what that is, and how it complements Maximo as a service. So I'm going to try to cover both of these areas best as I can and tell you how pairing them together can give you an all-around solution with superior benefits. But first, a little quick notes about us. We were founded 24 years ago. We've been doing Maximo every day since then. We have offices in Georgia, Atlanta, Tennessee, so mostly the Southeast, but we do have an office in California as well. You can see our certifications there, but I want to talk about also what ITS provides. We do everything soup to nuts with Maximo. So all of the consulting, all of the business processes, the implementations, upgrades, and support, training. We do cloud and integrations, and we're able to provide level 1 and level 2 support. And we have an offering we call Maximo 911, and that is our Maximo managed services. And it's also kind of like a break fix service. So if you have something happen to your Maximo, you can't figure out what's going on, you can get with us, and then our experts will take care of that quickly. And we're also the creators of ITS MaxAware, which is a Maximo monitoring tool. And some of the things that make us different is our experience. Uh, we don't really have junior team members. So you can see there, everybody has at least 10 years of experience. Most of our team members have also come from client backgrounds. So we have lived Maximo. We understand the user experience and bring that into our development side as well. We have experience in all kinds of verticals. So if you're in manufacturing, we can bring something that maybe we did in rail that was really good into the manufacturing side that's new. So that cross-pollination of different verticals actually helps each client. And you could read the rest of them there. Delivery, how we enable consistent delivery in shorter time frames. Because we're a smaller company, uh, we don't have the large overhead that some of the other partners have. So we're able to give you also a great rate on your Maximo. So let's talk about Maximo itself. You know, I always like to look at this and say, when you look at Maximo, they say it's an enterprise asset management solution, but what does that really mean? And that keyword there is enterprise, because it's really designed for large companies that have all kinds of systems, but it can be used in the smaller ones too. But when you don't have the IT support internal that understands Maximo, or you don't have a team that works with Maximo every day on the administration side, then it can be very complicated. And now with MaaS 8, even more so, since it's changing technologies, and we'll talk about that later. But the one cool thing about Maximo is how you can mold it to be what you want it to be. And you see what I say here. I said, if you can write it in a complete sentence, Maximo can do it. And that's pretty much true. You can fold entire systems into Maximo. Also, there's a large ecosystem. There's a lot of partners who make products that bolt on to Maximo. IBM has products that bolt on to Maximo, and there's a lot of support in the community for it. And the one thing that is real evident with all people who use Maximo, clients that use Maximo, they really usually only use a small percentage of what the system can do, which is sad. There's a lot of capabilities there that you can expand on, that you can make Maximo really be the workhorse of the company. So let's talk about software as a service and that delivery model. So it's essentially subscription based. You are renting, whether it be you're renting a platform, you're renting an application, uh, it's all a subscription based rental, basically. And Maximo as a service, that's a moniker that's come from Projetech, which fits very well. It's a SaaS offering with Maximo. Now, the good thing about the side with MaaS is that it's really flexible. If you already own your own licensing, you can bring that to Projetech Cloud, and you're able to keep your license provider, whoever's already buying that for you. You can still keep that if you like, but you can also uh, have the subscription through Projetech, and with their ESA agreement, they're able to provide licensing as well. And it's also pretty easy to budget. It's annual payments. You do pay up front. So when you engage, you will pay for that first year. There is no return. If you only used 6 months of it, you still have paid for a year. So it's good to know that. Uh, However, if you say, hey, I want 3 years or 5 years, then you actually get some discounts with that as well. And then with the SaaS offering, the Projetech partner also has to provide support and services. And that can be kind of a la carte, however you want to kind of build that. And I'll explain that when I get to the managed services portion. So this is kind of a little busy graphic here, and I hope you can see it. Uh, this kind of shows you how the different models of service can be. So you see anything in the blue, that's the items that you manage yourself. So traditional on-premise IT, on-premise Maximo. You would handle all these different things, the data, the application, database, the OS, all of that. You can see if you go to hosting, you still have pieces that you have to manage, that you have to manage the virtualization and the OS and the databases. You go to a platform as a service, you have the data in the application. You go to SaaS, the only thing you have to worry about is the data, and you always own that data. It is yours. But when you give up these other pieces and let it be managed by experts, you will have so many chances to increase your usage and not have to worry about the backside and how it is affected. And here's just another graphic of kind of the same thing here, but it just shows you that, hey, on the client side, you got the data, you got your encryption, your integrity, and authentication side. And then you see, well, okay, if you got managed Maximo in the cloud, that some of the stuff gets put onto the provider and then the cloud itself. So a lot of people start to have some apprehension about going to the cloud. And for those of us who are in IT and have been in IT for 20, 30 years, uh, these really aren't true issues to be concerned about. You can see the highest one here is the risk of a security breach. For clients who already have their Maximo exposed to the internet, you are much more likely to have a security incident than we're going to have in the cloud. There are several reasons for that. One is equipment is getting constantly upgraded and replaced as needed. There's defense in depth. There's all kinds of consistent scanning, consistent penetration testing. There are security controls well defined and in place. And you do not find that in very many organizations themselves. So the risk of security breach is really not an issue. So what's some of the benefits of Maximo as a service? So we're going to talk about this for a couple slides. One is availability. So your service level agreement is 99.99%. That's almost insane. So if you can tell me that your system has been up 99.99% of the time, I would be extremely surprised. And here, next one, we talk about security again and the defense in depth. Uh, Maximo as a service, the platform, the organization with Projetech, they have been through all these security frameworks and ensure that their security controls are in place to make sure that your data is safe. And you see on the side with robust architecture, military grade. So they have security certifications from third parties that come in and do testing. They have monitoring and alerting 24/7, 365. The security infrastructure is always updated, and again, constant scannings. Upgrades, the systems are patched at least monthly. Our clients that are already on Projetech, we get an email once a month about the non-production systems being updated and once a month about production systems being updated. That gives you a chance also to, if there's any issues with the development side, we would know before your production gets updated. But these have already been pre-tested before they're rolling out to the client. And once in a while, there'll be an out-of-cycle upgrade as well, sometimes to a firewall or to another device. So there's more benefits. Reliability, they're backed up continuously, and the backups are saved in multiple locations. Do you have that in your organization? Most places don't. So it's in several places across the US. So the recovery time can be met easily and have you back up and running many times within an hour. And I will be honest with you, in the 8 years that we've had clients with Projetech, we have never had a system go down to where they had to be recovered or anything of the like. Another part is the customizations that are made by Projetech and by the managed service provider get documented. We did this change, and this is why we did this change. And sometimes we even document, we did this change. Uh, we informed the client that this change may cause an issue, and we'll document it like that as well. Another great thing is scalability. If you need more capacity in the system, you're adding users, you bought a new site, you have an acquisition, you're able to increase the system capacity with no issues, and it's quick. I'll go back to that again. On the audit side, your licenses are being constantly monitored. We have heard that IBM is going to audit all clients that have not been audited in the last 2 years. So I would ask you how confident you feel that your licensing and how you have built your security model uh, is and how well it will pass an IBM audit. So if you're using your managed services and your MaaS, that is constantly being looked at uh, through reports. If there's an issue, Projetech many times sees it and it will let your partner know right away, and your partner will let you know that, hey, we need to do something here. We need to change this. We recently had one that we brought on where uh, that client had more licenses, had more users than they had licenses, of course, and they ended up getting rid of 14 of them, and it was people that had already left. They weren't even with the organization anymore. So how do you procure MaaS? You say, hey, I want Maximo as a service. How does that work? So either you're already working with a partner, or maybe you go to the Projetech website, you call Projetech. Well, Projetech's going to go back to a partner. That is their whole way it's set up, is with a partner network. So with that, they're going to push to a partner. Projetech and the partner is going to work together to come up with a quote. As I said before, you can bring your own license, or you can subscribe through Projetech's ESA. Then once everything is in place, the systems get built, and the partner, such as ITS, will work together with Projetech to give a plan of how we're going to migrate. So it's pretty straightforward. It goes pretty smoothly as well. So how does it actually work, the process? So We take the current system, we say, hey, are we upgrading? Are we going from 7611 to 7613? And then Projetech will establish the systems. We'll work together to configure the integrations. We will take a copy of the database. We may run it through some things on the managed service side before we provide it to Projetech. We'll get a copy of all your linked attachments. We will upgrade everything to the target version and essentially turn it over for user testing. At go live, we do the exact same thing, and we do it with production. So it's pretty easy to go from on-premise to MaaS. So now I've talked about MaaS for a little bit. I want to talk about managed service side. So managed services for Maximo, it's, as it said here, defined as a level of IBM Maximo support with a third party, a partner, that has the skills, certifications, and capabilities to provide that Maximo consultation and the technical skills to ensure that Maximo operates based on your client requirements and your expectations. That's extremely important. You should never have what we call as a tail wagging the dog scenario where your Maximo partner is telling you how you need to do things. They consult is what you want as a consultant that says, hey, you've asked to do this, but here's really another way you need to think about it. That's consulting. A contractor just does what you ask them to do and doesn't tell you what the issues may be further down the road. So the role for managed services can be kind of made how you want it. So a lot of times we just augment a client team. They may have one or two individuals doing Maximo, and we do the more heavy lifting. We could do it quicker. So a report, we'll get a report specification, the report's done in minutes, versus someone who struggles with BERT or another reporting engine and has issues getting it done in a short period of time. So how do you leverage Maximo managed services? Support's always an email or a call away, like most. You should have a ticket system in place, tells you what that ticket is. You should know when you're going to get follow-up. And again, it's faster than in-house IT, where maybe Maximo is just one of the systems they have and is not a priority for them. And what is really nice is you're getting all Maximo expertise. So Maximo needs to be the primary focus of that company, that partner. And accessibility, I'm going to talk about this in a later slide, but you can use as much or as little as you need, and I'll tell you how that's done. And then we already talked about the consultation side. So you should have a customer-centric approach. You want to have SaaS and managed services aligned to your needs. Want that relief of taking the burdens of managing those internal systems, of your team needing certifications and training, and people getting that training and certifications and leaving your organization. You don't want that. So that goes away with managed services. And solutions are tailored to your requirements. And I threw this in here, non-political. Your managed service partner doesn't have a political stake in what is the solution that's being desired. So managed support is also, you have a SLA with your managed service provider. They do the ticket triage. Is it a critical? Is it a medium issue? Is it a low issue? They should also help you with education and training. They should talk to you about how you can increase your use of Maximo. And they need to have the expertise on the Maximo add-ons. And I talked about the different verticals before, and that's having the expertise from multiple industries. And that's what really, really benefits you. So for the future, for your Maximo, you want to know that the updates are practically seamless to you, that you're not having to struggle with an update. And you can also move to MaaS 8, seamless. So you don't have to build all these systems yourself. You say, hey, I'm ready to move to MaaS 8, and that all happens behind the scenes. You can move to MaaS 8 Manage with no issues. So one of the other things is you're getting continuous performance monitoring and optimization by both the managed service provider and Projetech. That's extremely important. You want to know that the performance you're getting is top notch. You want to know that your throughput is as good as it can be. And the second part there is when a partner such as ITS, when all they do is Maximo, if you have something go wrong, we know immediately uh, how to address it and how to respond accordingly. So, MaaS 8, you've been hearing about it. They've been talking about it for a while now. You know that there's huge changes in the technology platform. And right now, we're seeing a lot of clients who just simply do not have that expertise in-house. They don't know Red Hat OpenShift. They don't know MongoDB. A lot of IT organizations have a lot of Windows people. They know Windows inside and out, but they're not really uh, knowledgeable on Red Hat. So if you don't have those skill sets on staff right now for MaaS 8, you're going to have to acquire them somehow. So either you do that internally, or you're going to have to try to recruit that, and you may pay more than you were expecting with that kind of skill set. And again, you have the issue that it could churn, that you may lose people to other companies. So ultimately, you're going to run into issues on your own Maximo if you have it hosted on premise that you're not able to solve. So it may be something that you caused, it may be something that's just accumulated over time, and the path you decide to fix it may not be the best one. So that's another reason to go to a managed service provider. They're going to know where to look and what's the best approach. Uh, when you have people who are experts in Maximo and they're in, as I said, the depths of Maximo every day, that matters. When you're able to know that the team that you rely on, that's all they do is Maximo, it is takes a big burden off of you, let's just say. And so if you go into a company and basically all they ever do is just create a report here and there, and that's about all they know, that's not a Maximo expert. So as I said with the last one, bullet here is you really do want to know that you have a seasoned experts that are taking care of Maximo from the beginning to end. And with Maximo as a service and Maximo managed services, you really have that from top to bottom. So I want to talk two success stories for ITS. This first one here is the most recent IDEXX Laboratories. You can see they're multinational, they have over 10,000 employees. They are the largest producer of veterinary equipment in the world. And they reached out to us actually through our website. And their issues were that the system was frequently down and they never got notifications from their Maximo partner that the system was down. Uh, the Maximo partner that they worked with wasn't communicating to them, wasn't letting them know what was going on, and anything that they wanted to do was considered a project, which that is not a managed service provider at all. That is just a consultant. So they were being hosted by that Maximo partner. It was not with Projetech. It was with their own hosting company. So we moved them to the Projetech MaaS offering, and now the system has never been down. And they get a lot of communication from us. They get status reports. They get um, a lot of emails just making sure everything is good. And now they're starting to grow the system into other areas. And they've literally only been with us since the summer. So uh, they're already seeing the benefits. I literally had the person there who said He couldn't go anywhere without having to take a laptop because he would always have issues he had to deal with. He also said he'd never got good night's sleep. He was always worrying, and that is totally turned around. So, as a success story, IDEXX Laboratories, we can give you their information. You can talk to them directly, and you can hear it from them. Another one is SMART. SMART Train out in Sonoma County, California. That was a new project, and they went with SaaS right away. And they used Trans with several of the add-ons, but they actually added freight recently. So it was a commuter train, and now they've added freight. They've been with Projetech for 8 years now, and the system has never been down. So, I mean, that kind of reliability is really what you're looking for. So, how do you get managed services? We always say we recommend a bucket of hours approach, not to exceed or fixed price. You set the amount you're comfortable with, and if you do that, you just use as much as you want. And if you have money left over, you can roll that into the next year or whatever you want to do with that. If you have a fixed price one, that's probably going to have some more guardrails on it. So you want to know what that is going to be when you talk to that managed service provider. Also, I wanted to make sure you knew if you wanted to quit MaaS, it's really simple. You tell your MaaS partner of your intention, you set a date, and I always recommend end of service because you've already prepaid for it. They will idle the system. They will give you a database and your attached documents. It is literally that simple. So we're at the end of our presentation. There's our contact information if you'd like to know more about Maximo as a service and more about managed service providers and how Maximo managed services can work for you. Contact us there. You can also connect with us at one of our socials. And if there are any questions, you can let me know. Thank you.
All right, we have a few questions that have come in. One is, what about the different authentication methods? And so every authentication method that you would have is available to you. LDAP, SAML, two-factor authentication, native Maximo, that all works for you, for your Maximo. Just really, it's however you need to authenticate that's able to be accomplished. Also synchronization with LDAP as well. Another question was, does MaaS cover the licenses of MaaS? Yes, as I noted in the presentation, there's two different methods. If you already have licensing, you can bring your own license, and the quote will be based on that. If you need licensing, then yes, the licenses are done through Projetech's ESA agreement, and it can be provided that way. Another question was, what if I have a lot of attachments? So before a quote is provided, one of the things we need to learn and find out is what is the amount of gigabytes, terabytes of your attachment folder. And we are able to move all of those, but based on the size requirements, that's how MaaS will also be priced. So there's a base amount with that, but we can always add to that based on how many, how large your attachment folder is. And another question that came up, but this is a really good one, is what about interfaces to internally hosted systems? So absolutely, that is able to be accomplished when you're hosted at Projetech. It comes down to the client side firewall allowing the communication through. And when that's provided, it works with no issues. That's all the questions I have. I appreciate everyone being on the call today. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.
Perfect. Thank you, Rich. See you all in the next session.
Thank you very much.